All right, if you'd like a little practice along with a teacher before you start your follow-up work, you're in the right place. Let's give this a try. So again, we have a table here, and we have two rows. This time it's oriented a little bit differently, but I'm going to assume that the first one is my x-axis, and the second row is my y-axis. Again, notice how the hours, the time, again, is on the x-axis. Time is down here. I'm going to color code these again. I'm going to use the same colors I did before. There's the time since opening, that's red. And we'll color code the number of tours that were given at the museum in green. That's the y-axis. Okay, so let's start with this first column here. My x is 1. What I'd like you to do is go ahead and draw a little graph in your notebook. That would be a graph that's 10 wide and 10 tall. And go ahead and try to graph these points on your own. Kind of using the skills we learned in the last lesson, try to graph these points on your own. And when you're done, go ahead and unpause, and I'll graph these, and we'll see if it's making sense or maybe if you have any questions. All right, go ahead and unpause if you've drawn this graph in your notebook. All right, let's see how you did. So this first row here is a 1 in the x-axis and a 2 in the y-axis. So I'm going to go first to the 1 in the x and then up 1, 2 in the y-axis. That would be right here. All right. Next up would be this column here. That's a 2 in the x-axis and a 4 in the y-axis. So that's a 2 in the x, 1, 2, and a 4 in the y. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's right here. All right. Next up, we have this column. That would be a 3 in the x-axis and a 6 in the y-axis. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, and then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for this point here. And lastly, let's do this last column here. It's a 4 and an 8. So I'm going to start at 0 on my x-axis. Count over to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then how far up do I go on my y-axis? Up to 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's my point there. And just like in our last graph, we could even make a little graph here by drawing a line through them. And you'll notice that it lines up pretty nicely. Let's see here. I'm going to grab the end of my line here and line it up a little better. There we go. So we'll notice that. Let's see, what do we notice about this graph? We notice that the longer that the museum is open, the more tours are given. This is a graph that says that the longer the museum is open, the more tours are given at the museum. Well, that makes sense. All right, if you're having trouble with this, maybe start the video over and try graphing it by yourself again. If this is making sense, you're ready to move on to the follow-up work.